Hey everyone, welcome to another deep dive with the other opinion. Today we're talking all things Superman.
The new Superman movie, that is.
Yeah, lots of you have been asking for this one, so we thought it'd be fun to take a closer look.
We've got a great article and a trailer breakdown to go off of.
Yeah, so if you haven't seen the trailer yet, maybe pause this and go check that out first. But if you have, then buckle up. And don't forget to hit that like button and share this deep dive with your friends.
And don't forget to subscribe to The Other Opinion so you don't miss any of our deep dives.
Right. Okay, so the first thing that really jumps out is just how different this Superman feels.
Oh, yeah, totally. From everything we've seen so far, it's clear that James Gunn is going for a completely different vibe.
It's just a hard reset on the character.
Yeah, and on the whole DC universe, really, this movie really feels like the start of something new.
It definitely has that fresh start energy, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I think part of that comes from the tone. The Superman is optimistic. He's hopeful.
It's a very classic, almost Silver Age take on the character.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a really interesting choice, especially coming from Gunn. I mean, think about his work on Guardians of the Galaxy. Lots of humor, lots of heart.
But also really epic action and kind of an irreverent, almost punk rock attitude, you know?
Right, and that makes me wonder, how is he going to bring all of that to Superman? Like, how do you balance that irreverence with the kind of inherent goodness of Superman?
And speaking of Superman, like, what do you think about the focus on Clark Kent in the trailer?
Oh, yeah. We see a lot of him just kind of being Clark, you know? Trying to figure things out. That shot of him looking over the Kent farm is really striking.
It is. It makes you wonder, like, what's going through his head?
Right. Is he thinking about his parents? About Smallville?
Yeah.
About how his life has changed now that he's Superman?
It really emphasizes that human side of him, which is something we haven't seen a lot of in recent Superman movies.
And I think that's really smart, you know, because it grounds him. It makes him relatable, even with all the crazy powers.
It's like we're seeing him before he fully becomes Superman, you know, before he puts on the cape and embraces his destiny.
Yeah, he's still figuring things out. And I think that's something a lot of people can relate to, you know, that feeling of trying to find your place in the world.
Absolutely. And don't forget, folks, we want to hear your other opinions on this, so make sure to drop a comment below.
Yeah, tell us what you think.
Okay, so we've talked about the tone, and we've talked about Clark Kent, but what about Metropolis?
Metropolis in this movie is totally different, too.
It's bright, it's vibrant, it feels alive in a way that we haven't seen before.
Yeah, it's almost like the city itself is a reflection of Superman's hopefulness, you know?
And that's a stark contrast to the Metropolis we saw in, say, Man of Steel, which was dark and gritty, almost apocalyptic, right?
Yeah, exactly. This Metropolis feels like a place that's worth saving.
Like a place where hope can actually thrive.
Yeah.
What do you think, viewers? Is this the Metropolis you've always imagined? Hit that like button if you agree.
And let's not forget about the action. We see Superman saving a plane using his heat vision.
Oh yeah, we see him fighting some kind of, like, giant robots, maybe?
Gunn called them kaiju in an interview.
Really? I must miss that.
Yeah, I was in that article we were looking at.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Well, whatever they are, it looks epic. Like classic Superman action, but with a modern twist.
It feels very much in line with Gunn's style, you know? Big bombastic action, but with a sense of fun and humor.
Yeah, it doesn't feel overly serious or grim.
And that's refreshing.
Yeah. Okay, so we've talked about Superman, Metropolis, and the action. But what about the supporting cast?
Lois Lane is back, of course.
Played by O.
Oh, I can't remember her name right now.
It's okay, it's not important right now.
Yeah, but anyway, she seems great in the role. Very sharp, very determined. Like the classic Lois Lane.
And the chemistry between her and Clark is already palpable.
Oh yeah, for sure. You can tell they have a real connection.
And we also see glimpses of Perry White and Jimmy Olsen.
Rounding out the Daily Planet crew.
Exactly. And then there's Lex Luthor.
Ah, Lex. Always a fan favorite.
But it sounds like they're taking a slightly different approach with him this time around.
Yeah, the article mentioned that he'll be a more complex character with a lot more depth.
It's almost like they're trying to humanize him a little bit, you know? Make him more relatable.
Which is an interesting choice. I mean, he's always been Superman's arch nemesis, but maybe there's more to him than just pure evil.
Maybe. We'll have to wait and see.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. We've talked about the tone, the setting, the characters, but there's one big question that we haven't addressed yet.
And that is?
How does this new Superman fit into the larger DC universe?
Right, because we know that there are other DC movies in development. So how does this all connect?
And that's where things get really interesting.
Because remember, folks, this is the other opinion.
Right. So make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of our future deep dives.
We'll be covering all the latest developments in the DC universe.
And we want to hear your thoughts too, so drop a comment below and let us know your other opinions.
We'll be back soon with part 2 of this deep dive, where we'll be talking about...
The multiverse.
Ooh, that's right.
Stay tuned, folks. The multiverse.
Okay, so we're back.
Ah.
And we're ready to dive deeper into this whole multiverse thing.
Yeah, because that's really the key to understanding how this new Superman fits into the larger DC universe.
Okay, but before we go any further, just a quick reminder to hit that like button and subscribe to The Other Opinion for more deep dives like this.
And don't forget to share this with your friends, folks. Let's get those other opinions flowing.
Right. Okay, so the multiverse. Basically, it means that there can be multiple versions of the same characters existing in different universes.
Exactly. So we can have this new hopeful Superman, and we can also still have the, let's say, more grounded Superman from the Snyderverse.
Right. And those two Supermen don't have to exist in the same universe. They can each have their own stories, their own adventures, without contradicting each other.
And that opens up a lot of possibilities, right? It means that DC can tell different kinds of stories, explore different tones and themes, without being limited by what's come before.
It's like having a giant sandbox to play in.
Exactly. And it gives them a lot of freedom to experiment and try new things.
And that's what I'm really excited about.
Yeah.
Because it means we could potentially see different versions of Superman interacting with each other.
Oh, yeah. Imagine a movie where this new Superman meets the Snyderverse Superman. The possibilities are endless.
And that's not even getting into the other characters like Batman, Wonder Woman, The Flash. We could see all sorts of crazy crossovers and team-ups.
The multiverse is really a game changer for superhero movies. It gives filmmakers so much more creative freedom.
And it keeps things fresh and exciting for the audience. You never know what's going to happen next. But, okay, let's bring it back to this new Superman. What do you think his world is going to be like?
Well, from what we've seen on the trailer, it seems like a world that's in desperate need of hope.
Right. We see people struggling, we see crime and violence, and then we see Superman rising above it all.
It's like he's a symbol of everything that's good and right in the world, a beacon of light in the darkness.
And that's such a powerful image, you know? Especially in today's world where it feels like there's so much negativity and division.
We need a hero like Superman now more than ever, someone who can inspire us to be better, to do better.
To believe that things can actually change.
Exactly. And I think that's what Gunn is trying to do with this new Superman. He's trying to create a hero who's not just about punching bad guys, but about inspiring hope.
About reminding us that we all have the power to make a difference.
And that's a message that I think a lot of people are going to connect with.
I hope so. Okay, so let's talk about the Silver Age influence. We see Krypto the Superdog in the trailer.
Yeah, and those giant robots, or kaiju as Gunn called them.
I love that he's embracing that more fantastical, almost whimsical side of Superman.
It's a nice change of pace from the more grounded, realistic approach we've seen in recent Superman movies.
Yeah, and it fits with that overall tone of hope and optimism that we've been talking about.
It's like he's saying, hey, it's okay to have fun with these characters. It's okay to embrace the absurdity of it all.
And I think that's really important, you know, because superhero movies can get so serious and self-important sometimes.
It's good to remember that they're supposed to be entertaining.
Exactly. And, you know, speaking of entertainment, let's talk about the villains.
Oh, yeah. We haven't really touched on that yet. So who do we think Superman might be up against in this movie?
Well, the article we read mentioned Brainiac and Metallo as potential antagonists.
Two very different villains, each posing a unique challenge for Superman.
Right. Brainiac is all about intellect, about control. He's a cosmic-level threat who wants to collect and control all knowledge.
So he's not just a threat to Superman, he's a threat to the entire universe.
Exactly. And then you have Metallo, who's more of a brute force kind of villain. He's a cyborg powered by kryptonite, so he's basically Superman's worst nightmare.
It'll be interesting to see how Gunn balances those two villains. Will they be working together? Or will they have their own separate agendas?
And how will Superman overcome them? Will it be through brute force? Or will he have to use his intellect and his compassion to find a way to defeat them?
Those are all great questions, and I can't wait to see how they're answered in the movie.
Me too. And don't forget, folks, this is just part 2 of our deep dive. We'll be back soon with part 3, where we'll be discussing
the future of the DC universe.
That's right. We'll be talking about all the other DC movies that are in development and how this new Superman movie fits into the bigger picture.
So make sure you hit that subscribe button and stay tuned. We don't want you to miss it.
And in the meantime, Let us know your other opinions in the comment below. We want to hear what you think.
The future of the DC universe.
Yeah, we got to talk about where all this is going.
What's James Gunn cooking up?
Right, like what is the grand plan here? And before we get into that, quick reminder to hit that like button and subscribe to The Other Opinion.
You know the drill.
So we know that this Superman movie is just the beginning.
It's like the foundation for a whole new era of DC movies.
Yeah, like a launch pad. And we've already got some hints about what's coming next, right?
We do, yeah. There's The Brave and the Bold.
Which is a new Batman movie.
Right, and then there's Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow.
And Lanterns, which I'm really excited about.
Me too, big Green Lantern fan. And then there's The Authority.
Which is a bit more of a, like, darker, edgier team, right?
Yeah, kind of like an anti-Justice League. So we've got a pretty diverse lineup of movies coming up.
We do. And it seems like Gunn is really trying to create a DC universe that's more connected, more cohesive.
Yeah, like a shared universe, but maybe done in a way that feels more organic, you know?
Right, like it's not just forced cameos and crossovers for the sake of it. It feels like each movie is going to have its own distinct identity, but they'll all be part of a larger tapestry. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it does, yeah, like a multiverse, but more intentional maybe. Like each universe reflects a different facet of the DC mythos or something.
Yeah, and that's what I'm really excited about because it means that we're going to get a lot of variety. Like, The Brave and the Bold is probably going to be a pretty dark and gritty Batman movie, right?
Yeah.
But then you have something like Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, which is probably going to be a lot more hopeful and inspiring.
Yeah, exactly. So there's going to be something for everyone.
Which is awesome. What do you guys think? Are you excited about this new direction for the DC Universe?
Yeah.
Let us know in the comments below.
And don't forget to use the hashtag #TheOtherOpinion.
Right. We want to hear your other opinions. Okay, but bringing it back to this Superman movie, we've talked about the tone, the characters, the action. But there's one thing that we haven't really discussed yet, and that's
what makes this Superman different? You know, what sets him apart from all the other Supermen we've seen before?
exactly. I think one of the key things is his sense of hope, right?
Yeah, absolutely. This Superman is unwaveringly optimistic, even in the face of adversity.
He's not weighed down by the darkness of the world. He sees the good in people, and he believes that things can get better.
And that's such a powerful message, especially in today's world. We need a hero like that, someone who can remind us that hope is not lost.
Yeah, and I think that's what makes this Superman so unique. He's not just a superhero, he's an inspiration. He's a symbol of everything that's good and right in the world.
And he's not afraid to show his emotions, his vulnerability. Like in that scene where he's looking out over Smallville, he looks almost sad.
Yeah, like he's carrying the weight of the world on his shoulders. But he's still hopeful. He's still determined to make a difference.
And that's what makes him so relatable, you know? Even though he's an alien with superpowers, he's still human at heart.
He still has doubts, he still struggles, but he never gives up. And I think that's something we can all aspire to. What do you think, viewers? Do you agree? Hit that like button if you do.
Let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear your other opinions.
Okay, so we're almost out of time. But before we wrap up, I just wanted to reiterate something we touched on earlier.
About how this new Superman movie fits into the larger DC universe.
Right. So we know that James Gunn is planning to create a more cohesive, interconnected universe.
With all these different movies and characters all kind of weaving together.
Yeah, but I think it's important to remember that this Superman and this universe is just one possibility.
Right. Thanks to the multiverse, there can be infinite versions of these characters and these stories.
So even though we're excited about this new direction for the DC universe, we're also open to the idea that other versions of these characters can still exist. The Snyderverse, for example, could still continue in some form.
Yeah, maybe as an Elseworld series or through limited films. There are all sorts of options.
Exactly. And that's what's so cool about the multiverse. It allows for endless possibilities. It means that we can have multiple interpretations of these characters without them contradicting each other. And ultimately, I think that's a good thing. It keeps things fresh and exciting. It allows for different creative visions.
And it means that there's something for everyone. If you don't like this new Superman, that's okay. There are other versions of Superman out there that you might connect with more.
Exactly. And that's what we're all about here, The Other Opinion. We want to celebrate all the different perspectives and interpretations.
We want to hear your other opinions.
Right. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and join the conversation. And don't forget to share this deep dive with your friends. Let's spread the word.
Absolutely. And with that, I think we've covered just about everything. It's been a great deep dive.
It has. And thanks everyone for joining us.
And before we go, I just want to leave you with one final thought. If this Superman is so hopeful and optimistic, What does that say about the world he inhabits? Is it a world that needs less of a dark night and more of a beacon of hope?
Ooh, that's a good one. Something to think about. And remember, folks, this was an AI podcast aimed at providing information. Some of it might be wrong.
So do your own research and come to your own conclusions.
And let us know what you think. Thanks for tuning in, everyone.